Well, Snoop, this podcast isn't going to be very much fun because the boss is here.
Oh, that's right. The big boss is here.
The big boss is here, and which means we don't get to have any fun.
No.
Like when the guest boss is here, we just get to make fun of him the whole time, and it's super great. But now, business, just straight business.
Just straight into it then.
But I am gonna ask the boss to like cue us with a magic word to turn off the business so we can start this podcast.
Oh, like a safe word.
Kind of like a safe word, but like an unsafe word.
Okay.
We're taking the chastity belt off.
Going in.
Just full frontal.
So, Erin, you're the big boss. What's the big word? The big unsafe word?
The big magic word.
What is that word?
Just a magic
word.
word.
We're asking you, what's the magic word?
What's the magic word to take off the business?
How do I say that word?
Oh, that word. Orichalcum.
Orichalcum.
Ooh.
You couldn't see it, but I shivered a little bit.
Oh, but they heard it, didn't they?
Yeah.
All right, now we can get started. Welcome, everyone, to the Comixology Club. It's a podcast where I, Snoop Lynch, and my co-host, Higgins.
Hey, that's me.
He's right over there, right across the room. And joining us today, we have the big boss, Erin Lopez.
Hi.
Oh, there she is. Happy to have her.
And we didn't have her mic on for a little bit. That's why it took so long.
Yeah, that's my bad. She's going to cut my pay. But we're having fun now, so maybe not. And we're also joined by a first-time guest, Abby Napier.
Hi.
She's right there.
This is probably first-time listener.
Yes.
Nice.
God, it's so smug of her to listen to her own episode. We'll allow it, though.
But she did demand to be here, so we made it happen.
Everyone else has been here and I haven't. I'm like, wow. All right, rude.
Well, you are the first of your siblings to be on this. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't have kids. Like, what do you expect, you know? Like,
you're right. We should get Calvin on next.
definitely. He could really give you some thoughts on the, like, Bluey book, you know?
Yeah, either that or he'll just throw the podcast equipment around.
Yeah, I could see him really biting the microphone.
Do you think he would bite on this book that we're talking about today?
You know, I don't think his parents would probably let him read this.
We could call
But that being said, he can't read, so you've got that advantage.
That's the great thing about comics. They're kind of for everyone, all ages, because you can just look at the pictures even if you don't know how to read.
Pictures are definitely not appropriate.
You can still look at them, though.
These pictures are worth 1,000 words.
But before we get into the magical world of the magic order, we should get into the magical world of our sponsor for this episode, which is 008 Studios.
Oh, yeah. They help us keep the lights on.
Every day, all the time.
Not my lights on, but the metaphorical lights. There we go.
The lights we use to podcast.
If they kept my lights on, God, I would try so much harder.
Luckily, you don't have to. So 008 Studios, which is Erin Lopez, and I guess sort of, worth mentioning, Michael Lopez's business. That's that joke we do.
Yeah, he's been on before.
Yeah, he's putting in the work, and I appreciate that. But it's their business where they help you get funding for a project, like a book they're doing right now, a comic. It's coming out at the end of the year. Higgins, what is it about?
Oh, that's the Icarus Initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Man, nailed it. It's like a space thing. They got people doing space stuff on a ship. There's like a narrative game. What do they call those?
Mm-hmm. He's doing a big transmedia project.
Yeah,
and the comic is going to be like the first thing that comes out of all of it. I think that particular project is called like the Icarus Academy. I might be wrong. If I am, I'll correct it next month. But that's going to come out by the end of the year. Another thing that the studio's been helping us do and is out maybe even before this episode, if not the exact same time, is we did a special episode and a special interview with one Jim Kruger.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time.
That's right. And we talked about the book Hero Quest, which he wrote and helped create with Steve Aoki.
People know that name probably.
I didn't, but now I do, and that's cool too. And people who know things about comics know Jim Kruger. He's been in all sorts of big projects. So it was really, really great guy to interview. Very, very nice. Had a lot of insightful answers to our sometimes good, sometimes dumb questions.
Yeah, and he even made us feel like we were bigger than we were. He was like, "You guys gonna be at the Comic-Con?" And I was like, "Man, Comic-Con?
Are we allowed to be at the Comic-Con?
Yeah.
Let's definitely go.
No, I think he was asking us happy.
Wow. But did you ask him? Was he like specifically
I didn't
saying
ask
you
if
two?
he meant you, even though
He could have.
he could have.
I think he meant 008 Studios.
We'll talk to him next
Which is
time.
basically Erin, so.
That's right. Aaron's business 008 Studios. But yes, and if you're a person who wants to get your own project off the ground, I don't think that they're taking submissions right now, but he's always looking for new submissions next year. So I'll leave a link in the podcast description where you can go to his website, see what he's done. He's done tons of other projects, 5 alone at the end of last year, beginning of this year, one of those. And you can buy them all, read them all, and talk to Michael about getting your own project made. He's a great guy for that sort of thing. Wouldn't you think so, Erin, the guy that you're married to? He's pretty good.
He's all right.
He's all right.
He's all right.
You heard it.
Raving reviews.
And I mean, like, that's his wife. She's just going to give you the most honest opinion about him there is. So if you don't take our word for it, take hers. And let us take you to the magical world of the Magic Order and talk about Orichalcum some more.
By Mark Millar, huh?
By Mark Millar, exactly. Now, Higgins, this is not a group of characters we haven't seen before, you and I.
Yeah, we did an episode with Soul Star Sketchin', and we talked about the big game, and they were in it.
That's right, because the big game was like this big epic crossover event of all of Mark Millar's properties, Kick-Ass, Wanted, other things, and then one of those things being the Magic Order. I didn't get a lot of play from them in that, and I didn't really know what they were other than just like, oh, the secret magic group. Now I get it.
Yeah, they're like what are those people that watch people in Marvel? The Watchers?
Yeah.
They're kind of like that.
Yeah, they watch the magic side of the world,
Yeah.
like the underground shady stuff that they're dealing with, so we don't have to. It's very much kind of Sopranos meets Harry Potter in a lot of ways. A little bit of background on this project and kind of just the production of all of Mark Millar's projects as a whole. So I'm talking to the ladies here because I've told Higgins this before. Mark Millar owned Millar World, which he sold to Netflix. It was kind of his comic publishing company thing. And then he sold to Netflix for a big, big deal with lots of money. And this was the first book to come out of that. So essentially, he's writing comics, but he's also writing scripts and screenplays for future adaptations. So Abby's already seen it. This is going to become a Netflix series of some sort later down the line. So that's why we have this.
How do you feel about that? How was that? You feel good about that?
I feel like fantasy things are very hard to make into shows and movies and them not be cheesy. So I'm hoping they do that with this, because a lot of times you're like, this is like the Aragon movie.
Well, thank goodness this isn't fantasy. This is magic, and magic's real.
I understand what you're basically saying. Like, yeah, this is there's a lot going on here, which would kind of mean you need a big budget to make this not look terrible and ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Since it's Netflix, though, they may achieve that, because I'm assuming Netflix probably has a pretty big budget for this.
Yeah.
And I think that they're just, they're all in on this. They bought this from him because they wanted his ideas. Mark Millar's always kind of been that guy in the comic industry that he writes stuff to be adapted into bigger, well, not bigger, but just movies, TV, bigger budget projects. And so even the way this is structured, it's 6 issues. It does continue in other kind of volumes of this story, but this particular arc is, you could do this and be done. And I think when they do adapt it, it will kind of go the way of an Umbrella Academy, which is the last season of that is coming out and ending this year. I think, and if it looks anything like that, it'll be good.
Yeah, that or the Sandman, that was good too.
Sandman was also really
they do good
example.
stuff with comic book stuff.
And Netflix claims to have like an unlimited budget, even though they keep raising the prices and have to keep charging us for that. But,
hey, man,
I'm willing for someone else to pay that price.
Capitalism, am I right?
Yeah. Capitalism. Am I right, Erin?
Yeah, it really makes me mad that if you're not part of the household, you can't watch anymore.
I know. And then they got that thing where you can like add a second household, but it's worse somehow. I'm
a second household.
You are the second household.
I wasn't happy about it. I had no Netflix for like 2 months.
Yeah. And you're going to be known as that guy who's the second household.
Yeah.
Like the neighborhood talks, Higgins, and they've got nothing good to say about you.
They put a sign in my front yard. This is the second household.
One of the signs with a lemon on it. I think it's
the HOA was furious about that one.
So yes, this is written by Mark Millar. Now this originally came out in 2018, ran until about 2019. The other big player on this is art by Olivier Coipel. I did have to look that up, but that is how you say his name.
That sounds like
that
sounds like a French name.
Well, he's a French guy, Higgins.
Oh, we nailed it.
Oui.
Not even Canadian French.
No, I think it's just regular French.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But tell you what though, art's looking real good in this.
Oh yeah, I like it a good bit. It's not. I mean, it's still comic book art, but like they do some pretty good colors.
Erin, I think the art looks magical in all aspects, not just the pages with boobs on them. I know that's what you're laughing about over there, and I know that's what you like the most, and I'm happy for you that we could offer that.
Since we're talking the art aspect, the shading in this is actually very impressive because when drawing and stuff like that, getting shading to look right and make it seem like shadows and stuff, that is actually very hard to do. So I'm very impressed with that aspect of it.
Yeah, and I'm very impressed because that might be the most insightful art opinion we've ever had on this show. She used the word shading, Higgins. No one's ever done that, not even us.
I always just say blackest blacks.
Especially since with the comic style, they do kind of the line art to, you know, show shadows. And so that is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
And so the guy whose name I cannot pronounce is impressive. He does good work.
Yeah.
God, I hope Olivier's listening right now. Got probably such rosy cheeks.
We'll email this over to France, and then someone can find and show this part.
People listen in France sometimes.
One person at least listens in France. Yeah, maybe two. We got a broad outreach, is what we're saying. I agree with all that, and I think what's also interesting because the idea of this world and how like the magic and the magicians function in it is by day they do regular kind of regular jobs. Like one's a UPS driver, one works as like a kind of stage magician,
and
one works at a supermarket, and one's a lifeguard. Yeah. And so a lot of the kind of weird wackiness and the magic happens at night. And so that's the scenery, that's the setting. And lighting wise, it's just street lamps and just shady alleys. But I don't ever have an issue kind of making out what's happening in any of this, even though a lot of the colors are very muted and dark. So yeah, I agree with Abby. It's a masterclass in drawing. And apparently when Mark Millar was, when he made that deal with Netflix and set out to do this book first, they're like, get the best artist that you want. And this was the guy that he wanted. And he says, at the time, he said it was the best art he's ever had in one of his stories.
Oh, wow.
And I might have to agree with it, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good. And then I think paired with those colors by a guy named Dave Stewart, he's very big in this industry. I think I see his name on most comics I read. Yeah, just a natural kind of pairing there. Story-wise, though, this is basically about a magical family. They run the big magic order, and people are coming after them, and they're killing them down left and right for this big book that Erin knows how to pronounce. What's it called again, Erin?
The Big Book of Magic.
I know she can do it.
Or a calculum?
Or a calculator. That's right. Good job.
Thank goodness. If she had said it, the business would have been back on.
Oh, my God. Can I say it and the business is still off?
Yeah, no, it's just her.
Okay, good. So the Orichalcum, that's the big dark book of apparently Atlantis magic. That's a thing. I watched Aquaman 2 and they mentioned that word in there as well.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
Apparently
that's what they said.
Yeah.
It's got all the bad magic, and that's why they got thrown underwater. Apparently.
Yeah, it's got all the cheat spells in it, basically. And so you got this person who's just, I want that book. I'm going to kill whoever I have to get it. And I also kind of like the setup of that because there's these kind of bullshit rules basically where it's like, okay, you can kill us, but also you can't just do it outright because then we can come and we can kill you. And they can't just go and attack her even though she basically says I'm doing this because then that leaves them vulnerable and open to attack. So like this kind of dancing around it and just it's blunt and obvious, but also playing in their little sandbox that they've made. I don't know. I find that very entertaining.
It's like magical chess.
Yeah.
They're moving their bishops. She's moving her shapeshifter and guy in a V for Vendetta mask around.
Yeah. The Venetian.
Yeah, the Venetian.
Yeah, had to look that up
This
too.
Italian.
Yeah. It's really testing my words I can and cannot say.
Yeah.
So, but I've grown as a person since reading this, and I hope you all have as well. Erin and or Abby.
I've really grown since I read it last night. Yeah, I feel much more, in tune with my inner self after reading this. I'd like to shout out to Mark because I woke up a new person. What about you, Erin?
Look at her reading the book the night before we record.
I don't even think Erin read the book, so
no, that's big moves. I usually read it like 2 hours before we record.
Okay, well, I'm better than them. Obviously, I read it, at least 24 hours in advance.
Excellent. Oh, and so what did you think of the story? You don't read comics. Is this the first comic you've ever read?
Yes.
And so what do you think?
I really liked, for a while you were like, is the whole order just going to be wiped out? Like one of those things where there is no happy ending.
Mhm.
I love those like stories because it always really makes me laugh. But I will say the girl at the end, her father sacrifices himself for her. I feel like she's going to live with a lot of trauma after that because she was dead for a minute and now she is brought back. And I feel like she's probably going to have a really tough time in life because she's going to know that's what happened. I feel like she's going to live with like a lot of guilt after that. So if she becomes like an evil character later on in this series, I will not be surprised because that's like evil mastermind in the making.
Yeah. And I kind of honestly felt the same way. It was a very bittersweet ending where it's like that guy got what he wanted, but also she's an orphan now. And it's not a secret to her what happened. Like they pretty much told her immediately, like, hey, your dad's a bad guy and your mom's trapped in a weird book. And we're going to raise you now. And
talk about
this'll be
trauma.
fine. Yeah. Like even seeing her at the funeral, just kind of sulking in the corner. It's just like, maybe you shouldn't have brought this kid back if you were just going to like, again, make her, which she's going to be raised by her uncle, but he's not a great guy either.
Talked about, how awful the uncle was, like how he was a failure. And so you've basically put her in a really weird family dynamic because her grandfather is like, none of my children are good enough except for Gabriel. Gabriel like kills half the people.
Whoa, spoilers.
Wait, are we
No,
not?
I'm just kidding.
Okay. I didn't know like how this works. I was like, wait a minute. I know Erin hasn't read it.
We just
so-
hadn't
Child,
talked.
though,
We
right?
just hadn't talked about it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, like, you're really not setting her up for success. Like, talk about trauma. That's all I'm going to
I
say.
would rather be trapped in the book as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a kid's book.
I
though.
think a therapist is going to get a lot out of this girl in the future. Like, they're going to make a lot of money with this girl, her future therapist.
I think so, yeah. If she doesn't accidentally kill herself with lightning again.
Yeah, that was a little dumb, you know? Why
Yeah.
didn't he put, like, the wand in, like, a lockbox?
I mean, not more than the kid in the very like first scene that like got magically possessed to kill his parents with a knife, right?
Oh yeah, they never
That's-
went back to that kid. That kid's probably a wreck.
Yeah.
Also a lot of trauma.
Like his dad does come back,
Yeah.
but still a lot to explain.
Yeah, but you
I,
killed him still.
I really enjoy, I think about this where you have this contrast of the magic mixed with the mundane and kind of the parallels to that. Like even so the thing that kicks out this whole story off is there's the three children of the lead wizard guy. They are Cordelia, Gabriel, who Abby's mentioned, and then Reagan, I think, is the hot-headed brother. Well, Gabriel's daughter finds his wand and wants to show off because he's been telling her about all the cool magic that he and his family does, and that she's going to be a great magician one day. And
then
it's
she somehow explodes her and all her friends.
yeah,
Somehow.
and it's essentially the same thing as a kid showing off their dad's gun that they know
and accidentally
where he
shooting.
keeps it, and yeah, like someone accidentally gets shot. Like there's just so many moments of like, oh, this is that, and there's this idea of
Exactly.
these people are all armed with spells that it's essentially like having a nuclear arsenal, and they treat it so nonchalantly and irresponsibly that all these horrible things happen that either affect them or the rest of the world. And that's kind of the only thing that propels this whole plot. Like none of this would have happened if he would have put that on a higher shelf and also maybe locked behind a magical box that she couldn't open. And I also enjoy that his first instinct, he does blame himself, but his first instinct to fix it is not to move on and like fix the relationship he can with his grieving wife. It's no, like I'm going to do this thing that will have me murder my entire family so I can bring this one child back. It is his fault, but he's just decided like this is the best move and you all would do it if you understood where I was at.
And he works with, and who remembers the name of the Gimp mask girl?
Madame Albany?
Albany?
Mhm.
All right. Well, she is a disgrace. Well, she's not even disgraced. She just was like not good enough to get like the job to watch the book.
Yeah.
Because for the exact reason that her dad thought about, which was that she was going to use it or something.
she
Or she
wasn't
didn't even want to use it. She
responsible
just
enough for
wanted.
it.
She's not responsible enough to hold it.
Yes. Yeah.
And it just proved it through the whole, which they talk about that too. There's like some like time magic bar where like she sees her dead dad talking to somebody else in the past, but they're not allowed to talk to him, and like he probably saw her talking to people about getting the book from them or something. I don't know. There's time travel too.
Yeah. It essentially comes down to everyone's motivations of anything that they do isn't linked to being a good magician or being responsible. It's just, I'm messed up and I'm being petty or just doing my own thing, which ends up saving the day, honestly. But for a lot of the problems that are happening, like, again, her entire motivation, and I love that as well, as her what this woman wants to do is not use this book to take over the world and be the worst witch or wizard or whatever. It's, I'm going to prove that I am the right person for this job by killing you all, starting a new magic order, and then just not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like with a lesser writer behind it, this would not work in any way. But I think he does a really, really good job of kind of selling that for me. And again, then you mix in the brother's motivations and kind of why she needs him. It all fits. It all works really well. Erin, you've read some of this, presumably all of it. You are the big boss, and so you probably read it before all us. But what you have looked at, kind of, I don't know, what stands out to you? What do you enjoy about it? What do you maybe don't like about it? Just any thoughts?
I do like how, like you said, it's kind of like the wizarding world meets like mob bosses, kind of like it's turf wars type thing. They're trying to kind of maintain their own without exposing themselves. But I think a lot of the characters are really well developed from what I've read, and you have kind of like the usual characters. You have like kind of like the daughter who's the misfit, the son who everybody praises, but he can't live with himself because of the things that he's done. So it creates a really like fun dynamic between everybody to see how everybody interacts and how in situations they can still kind of operate as a family still, even though everything's falling apart.
Yeah. Yeah, that family dynamic of kind of the dad and then the three children, like that core family and the problems that they have and have had. And I like how everyone kind of plays into that a little bit. Like, and you get that kind of sprinkled out throughout all 6 issues where you find out that the dad was not faithful, and that's why he even has 3 kids, because Cordelia is his kid with, I think, one of his old stagehands.
Yeah, like he was unfaithful, and
yeah,
that was like one of the most wild parts is the Cordelia. She like magicked herself out of her mom's stomach into another lady's
into the
surgeon's stomach
because they were going to a border. Yeah.
So she magicked herself as a fetus thingy into another person's stomach so she could be born.
I'm manifesting that happening to you, Erin.
Amazing.
That's fine. You already got 2 kids.
And that's a big one. Which she's the star of the show. Definitely my fave character.
Cordelia, yeah. And I like that moment where it sets up this awkward kind of thing with her dad where she basically knows that since the beginning she's been the unwanted child, and the only reason she's around is because of her own ability. And so she's struggling with that while also trying to win her dad's affection. And I like kind of her talking to us about that, where the dad, his day job is he's one of the biggest, stage magicians in the area, and she's trying to follow in his footsteps to just get his attention and get his approval. Like, that's why she's the bad kid, is just because she wants her dad's attention and love and respect, and she's known as the fuck up. And then you have Reagan, who is very loyal to his dad. He even works as part of his act because he wants his approval, and he's the oldest, but he's not the most talented, and also he's the one who loses his temper. So he doesn't, even though it's like, well, I'm doing everything, why don't you give me, why don't you retire, give me this position? He's like, no, like, I actually want your brother, but he's going through a thing right now. And then that ends up being like, your brother's the one murdering everybody. But and that is the thing. I don't know about you guys. I saw that twist kind of a mile away.
No, I didn't see it. It got me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it got me. I wasn't sure what it was gonna do, Hold on, Charlie's drinking water.
Let's all take a moment and appreciate Charlie drinking some water. Because we all need to stay hydrated. That's important.
She's pretty thirsty.
She is really thirsty. Podcasting is thirsty work. That's just a bit obnoxious.
How much water does the dog need?
The whole bowl.
Jared, when was the last time you gave your dog water?
Oh, it's always full.
The problem is Charlie's not full.
All right. Yeah. Oh man, now that was just long enough for me to forget exactly my train of thought that I was going for. But
We were talking about the twist.
oh yeah, the twist it caught me off guard. I read it really fast, so maybe I didn't let myself stew enough to like catch it while I was reading.
Yeah.
But I was like, I knew something fishy was up, and I knew like in like a lot of these books, like people being dead doesn't really mean they're dead. So I knew that there's no way that like all of these heavy hitters were already gone. Maybe because I already read Big Game and saw some of these faces already, but
Yeah.
and I knew that came later on, but I wasn't sure how it was going to play out. I thought Cordelia was just going to do some crazy stuff because like they led her up the entire way with like the escapologist stuff. She's like, I get out of traps. I get out of traps. I get out of traps. And then she gets trapped by like the big bad.
Mhm.
And you're like, okay, she's going to get out of this somehow. And then sure enough, like boom, bing, bang, bow. And it's like, oh, it's your brother though. So you won't be able to take him out. And it's like, I think she's still going to get out of there somehow.
Yeah.
And then turns out it was the orichalcum.
It's that dang orichalcum.
She read the whole dang book.
Yeah.
That was the bigger twist.
And I think that, so for me, I think it was kind of given away in like, honestly, the panel layout. There's a bit that I remember basically where they're talking about this Venetian guy he's in robes and no one can trace him, and he's killing everybody. Well, they had already mentioned that the brother, even though he's not doing magic anymore, was the best guy to magic ever. So I'm like, well, that's interesting that he's the best and they need him, but he won't come back. But then there's just a moment where the brother and the sister are talking. And it's like, this guy's killing all of us one by one. Who could it be? And then the next panel is just the other brother in the car, like just smash cut.
Yeah.
So that was what gave it away. But I think, and you've brought it up, the bigger twist having been, she read that book years ago. And
because
so she knows all those
because she
spells.
was a fuck up. She was like,
Yeah.
screw you, Dad. I'm going to read this big bad book that I'm not supposed to.
Yes, I love that twist simply because it fits perfectly. It seems like an ass pull, but it fits perfectly in line with what we've been told about this character and also seeing what she's done. And like you mentioned, her whole thing is she's a professional escapologist. So yeah, she has to get out of this. And I think that kind of just, that is what I really love. Like that's the twist where I'm like, oh, this was really clever and also really fun. I think this book is fun first, then builds up kind of the world and the emotion. And yeah, the rest just kind of all falls into place. We've talked a little bit about it, but we haven't gotten into any detail. How did y'all feel about the magic in this, Abby and Erin? Like, there's a lot of really kind of wild stuff in this that they do.
I think the thing that's weird to me is like the magic in this book doesn't have borders. It basically seems like anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's no repercussion. Like her bringing back people from the dead, there's no negative. And so I could see in this world, it'd be very easy for corruption to happen because there are no consequences to the magic you use, because no one seems to like wear out from the magic in this book either. I know in some worlds they make it where like you use so much magic, you get tired, need to rest. And so this is very open and anything can really happen because there's no repercussion to the things you do.
Yes.
And so that is very interesting. Also, they seem to be able to fly. That just really threw me off.
Yeah, like no brooms or anything. They're just like, we float too.
At least get a broomstick or like some wings or, you know, something.
Yes.
It's just they fly.
That's your real hang up. It's just like,
yeah, I was like, wait, we're flying now? I'm so confused. Like, I want to know are they making something push off their shoe? Are they just floating? Like, How are we flying? Are we controlling the wind? Is there a spell? Because when they fly, they don't hold their wands either. They're just flying. They're
just doing stuff, you know? I think it's the magic that I want magic to be when I think about magic. It's like if I've learned it, I can do anything.
Yeah, there's always an answer for every problem you have.
There's
because,
like a bunch of cool different things, and they really. There's only 6 issues, but they throw the book at you as far as magic goes.
sometimes literally.
Yeah, that part happened a couple times. Dude sets a magic book on a guy's chest. He's stuck in the story of Robinson Crusoe and something else.
They put the wife in Crime and Punishment.
Crime
I think,
and Punishment,
yeah.
because that's pretty good.
That
She's getting crimed and punished.
Which I've
She
never
did
read.
a crime
but
and then she was punished. That book's like 1,100 pages long. It would take you the rest of your life to finish that book.
So what you're saying is that they could have just put her in a cell and made her read Crime and
it's
Punishment. And
by
that would
a
have been
Russian
good enough.
author, like
Dostoevsky?
No, it's like Fyodor Dostoevsky.
Yeah, it's one
I
of those.
think. Hopefully, no book guy comes back and says, "No, you dumbass, it was actually Leo Tolstoy.
I'm
It
gonna
wasn't
look it
Leo
up.
Tolstoy.
It might be Leo Tolstoy.
gonna
No,
look it
Leo
up and
Tolstoy is
comment.
War and Peace. Fyodor Dostoevsky, I'm pretty sure, is
Yeah,
Crime
yeah.
and Punishment. But
Okay. It's the and the whatever. That's what's thrown off.
Yeah.
Throwing us off. Yeah.
But then there's like, the magic painting world where they all go. That's like only able to go to, and the crazy uncle's in there. And then there's the part where the magician lady gets killed, where like all of a sudden there's just the taxi's full of water out of nowhere,
And he drowns her. Yeah.
and he drowns her in the taxi.
I
Yeah.
don't think taxis are waterproof, so that seemed like really unrealistic to me.
Nah, but you could like if you're pumping water in quick enough, it would take longer for it to like fall out than it would take for it to fill up.
Plus, it's magic water.
Does anyone
So-
have the statistics on this? Like, how much water would you have to like put in there for it not to fall out? I want to know.
I don't know, but in like my Pathfinder journeys, there's like a spell called make water, and you can make like a shit ton of water if you're a high enough wizard. So
But like, it would be draining as you're filling it.
yeah,
Not if it's a fresh
enough.
cab and it's like the seal is new.
You gotta think though. if
Have you
they
ever
can-
seen a fresh cab, Snoop? Have you ever been like, oh, that cab looks fresh?
Look, I don't know what time period this was set in, but it looks like not our time. Could have been like a 2000. And
It
they
could
just
have
got
been
a
when
fresh batch.
the cabs that we have now first came out, so they're
Yeah.
pretty
I think
fresh.
like you make a cab and it's automatically old. I don't know how. They just are all old.
That's fair.
There's no such thing.
So what you're saying is that to make this more believable, she should have been in an Uber.
Exactly.
Okay,
Like
that's
at
fair.
least a Honda or something. Like
The thing,
Honda Odyssey.
The thing about this is, if they magically create enough water to drown someone in a taxi, they probably can also magically make Flex Seal, and we know water doesn't get out of that.
can you cast 2 spells at once though?
I think they can do anything. The guy was flying. You just said it, and then he
That
also
is
shot
true.
lightning bolts out of his hand or something like that to fight the horrible bloblin.
That's
Can you
right.
say that again?
The horrible bloblin.
Olivier Coipel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really love the variety, and I think that's what kind of makes the magic work is they are doing literally anything, and they're like Abby mentioned, there doesn't really seem to be any rules or consequences, but I think because it's almost like
Oh,
They
sorry,
do a
I'm on the
different-
passage right here. He did use the Flex Seal spell on the inside of the cab. That's how the water
Oh.
filled up.
yeah.
Sorry, you must have missed that panel.
Yeah. I mean,
It was in the editor's note. But I think that by having them basically really only use a spell once or maybe twice max, they're doing something different every time. You don't really pick it apart as much because it's like, well, they can do anything.
Oh, they can do it.
And I think what makes it work is this person can do anything, and this person can do basically almost anything. So, but they're not doing the same thing. It's like it really just comes down to who knows more things. Like that's kind of what gets Cordelia out of her situation
Yeah,
that
that's
she
why
shouldn't be able to win. That she
Reagan
knows
didn't
the
get
most.
picked too
Yeah,
because he didn't know enough things.
he didn't know. He's too hot-headed.
Sorry, I want to talk about more magic. There was that thing where the old lady was in the room with one of the other people, and like the dude like turned their room into a different room.
Oh, a change spell. Yeah.
And the change spell, and that was my favorite art part, where like you see the old lady like reaching out her hand, and then like it looked like just like diagonals, or like
She was turning into a couch.
she was like floating into the ground, or like sucking into the ground.
Yes.
And I was like, that looks really cool.
Yeah, and what's also interesting is that's the only time you ever see that spell. It
Yeah.
never comes back up again. And then you have stuff like the horror globin, which isn't even a spell. It's just like there's magical creatures in this world that are more dangerous than a lot of the wizards. Like even mentioning how they trapped that thing originally, it was like your ancestors trapped it in a bottle, but not before they turned 90 because it took away all their time. And like, that's freaky.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know. I think that, and then giving the artist kind of just that open sandbox to really do what he does. It looks amazing to me. It's disgusting. It's beautiful. It's magical, Erin.
Amazing.
Oh, it's magical.
Amazing.
Like the book.
Magical.
Just like the book. And
you know what else is magical though, Snoop?
What's that?
The drink that we drank.
Because we're so wrapped up in this story and the people in it. We haven't even talked about what's getting us drunk.
Yeah.
Let's fix that.
Abby, what's that drink called?
Oh, you picked the drink. That's right, Abby. What is it?
Did I pick the drink?
Yeah, you picked the drink, I
don't
think.
think I picked the drink. I
Abby,
think he
tell
did.
us what the drink is, for God's sake.
Hold on. Let me get the cliff notes of this
Erin,
episode.
Can you say orichalcum again so Abby knows that this is business time?
Orichalcum.
Okay.
There you go.
Now give us the dang
Hold on.
drink.
So can you search on your phone a little bit farther away from the microphone? Thank you.
It's wild how it just goes away.
Yeah.
The orange.
Orange.
L'orange.
L'orange. L'orange.
I won't even tell him that I didn't even put l'orange in there.
He definitely picked the drink. I did not.
Oh, I did pick the drink, but she gave me the direction.
I was doing horse girl things. I couldn't pick the drink.
She said, "Don't make it too alcoholic tasting." And
It
I was like, "I
tastes
got
like
you."
a creamsicle.
It does.
It does
It's
taste-
very
yeah.
good. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Okay.
2 points off because it doesn't have glitter in it.
I
Or
give it a
bendy
0.
straw.
Oh, I could have put glitter in it. I forgot about that
You
part.
think-
Should have put glitter in
You
it.
said you were going to put glitter
I
in it.
can put it in there right now. You still got.
I paid for that
Disappointment.
glitter. Where is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is
I paid
the
for that
boss
glitter.
man.
I didn't give him the receipt, so that did come out of my pocket. But
What are you going to do?
but the drink's called Magic Hour, and technically called for Grey Goose L'Orange, but I went for Smirnoff Orange because they didn't have Grey Goose L'Orange at the liquor store I went to.
Griffin isn't
Let
that
you down.
fancy.
No.
They
can't
did
even
have
say
Grey Goose, but
L'Orange.
not Grey Goose L'Orange, and Smirnoff was cheaper.
I feel like that last part's very important in your decision.
That was an important part in my decision.
But it
I
is a
could
good
have
drink
got I could have
regardless.
got Taco Orange, and that would have been like even worse. But
I thought you said taco orange.
Ta-
I
Taco.
did too.
I did too. And I was like, this sounds
We could
disgusting.
get tacos later.
yeah,
Yeah.
I need
And
to
maybe
do
some orange
something.
slices. What's in this drink besides the Smirnoff
God,
orange?
so many things. All right, so it's like equal parts orange vodka, coconut milk,
Mm.
orange juice, water,
Oh.
2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract,
Yeah.
some vanilla syrup, like a 1 ounce or something like that,
Okay.
and then could have done orange zest, but Reese just moved out recently. One of my roommates, R.I.P.
He took all the oranges with him.
He took his zester, so
He's not
I
dead, he
I
just
do
moved
have an out. Yeah,
R.I.P.
I do
But
have.
rest in peace what he did to his room. It looked amazing.
Yeah, it's empty.
Yeah.
It's clean now.
Sad.
But yeah, I could have put orange zest and apparently glitter. I think
the glitter would
I
have made it
did
taste
that.
better.
I got imitation vanilla extract. You guys can't tell the difference, right?
I immediately, I
Oh.
drank it and I was like, oh,
Shit.
This drink's fake.
the
Fake as
cheap
fuck.
stuff.
The Chiefs.
It is good though.
It was
I
like-
really enjoyed
This
God.
is not a high class drink.
I will tell you guys.
This is ridiculous.
Imitation vanilla extract versus pure vanilla extract, it was like $8 difference for a bottle that I'm going to use one time. I'm absolutely not.
It's
Higgins,
very expensive.
It's very presumptuous of you to think that you're only going to use that one time. Even if you use it twice, you're a liar. So just
Snoop,
keep
I
that
had
in
to
mind.
buy another bottle of melon liqueur because we had 3/4 of a bottle of melon liqueur from the last time we used it.
Okay.
That was bad.
What I said still stands. So Bessie, if and when you listen to this episode, if he uses it again, you let me know.
Yeah, we did talk about making muffins.
See, he's already going back on his word. But it's a good drink. Unlike a guest we're gonna have on next month, I'm a sucker for some dairy in my alcohol. I don't know why. It shouldn't work, but it does
Yeah.
for me. And I also love the
That's
orange
not
in
really
here.
dairy. It's coconut milk. It's
Oh, okay.
technically a fruit
Well, either way,
or a nut milk.
Speaking.
it's
Can we
vegan.
say that on a podcast?
I mean, it's our podcast, so you
Nut
can
milk?
kind of just say whatever you want.
If I say Smirnoff one time, we get sponsored again. Oh, thank goodness.
we're already sponsored. Good double sponsor. But I really like this. What do the ladies think? They've had at least some of one. Abby, you said you liked it.
I did like it. Yes, it was very good.
You don't drink a lot either, so that's
I do not.
praise.
No,
Yeah.
I don't. And I couldn't taste the alcohol. That's the main thing. Like,
It's
I don't
very-
like the taste of alcohol.
Very light on it. It's like a shot. You get like a shot in there, and it was like pretty full glass. So
Yeah, I've liked it.
you could. This is one of the ones where you're like, this could sneak up on me, and it's like you could have like 7 of these and be fine.
So I'm taking it slow over here because otherwise this podcast would get very interesting very quickly.
Oh, that's what we're looking for. So drink away.
Yeah.
Aaron, what do you think?
Drink more, Erin.
It's like a dessert.
It's not a bad.
It tastes like literally like a orange creamsicle with the ice cream. in there.
Popsicle,
Yeah.
yeah.
You did say that, and that was exactly. I was trying to figure it out myself before you got here, and you said it, and instantly I'm like, "That's it. That's the thing. It is."
I'm kind of getting Fruit Loop vibes also. Like it just
Like post, like after the milk.
Yeah, the milk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's actually had it wasn't coconut milk, it was actually Fruit Loop milk. He had to soak the Fruit Loops, drain it, and then he poured the Fruit Loop milk.
Let's get
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Just that right amount of high fructose corn syrup. Excuse me, imitation high fructose corn syrup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. You did well, Higgins. I'll give you this one.
Thanks, man.
We needed a win after the last couple drinks we've had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't done good.
It's mostly just that melon liqueur. Fuck that melon liqueur.
It just doesn't cover anything.
No.
That's the most important part of a cocktail is what I've learned over my many years of being a bartender for this podcast is there's like very certain mixers that like cover the taste of alcohol really well.
Mm.
And if you don't have those, it just like cuts right through. It doesn't make sense. You put like a Coke with anything, the alcohol's gone. You mix that same alcohol with Pepsi, it tastes disgusting. And
But-
they're not that different.
Pepsi tastes disgusting on its own, so maybe that's.
Pepsi's perfectly fine beverage.
But it's not good, is it?
No, I drink it. I drank it at the movie theater.
Pepsi's
I
like
chose
a
it.
flat Coke to me. I can't. There's something about it, but you know, I'm not here to talk about Pepsi. Not today. Maybe a different day. But unless we have any other thoughts on the drink, Aaron can say orichalcum, and we can get back to the fun stuff.
Orichalcum.
Oh my God, we're back in. It's
Oh,
fun.
I'm back in.
Gonna make that my ringtone. Just Erin saying that, you know?
Orichalcum.
We're gonna slowly start whispering it.
Orichalcum.
We've talked
Should
about
we
a-
talk about the fun places?
The fun places,
Yeah,
like that they go
like-
to.
You know, their base that's actually in a painting.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Again, like this hiding in plain sight kind of element of all of it, and I also love like there's always a thing to get to the other thing. Like for them, it's you have to be invited into the painting. For the evil wizard order's base, it's like you got to go to this theater and like share the worst memory you have, or else it'll just look like a theater.
Oh yeah.
And
I have a question for y'all.
Yeah.
So, do you think that the artist was a wizard that had to create the painting, or was the artist just a normal person who painted the painting and then the wizards like enchanted the painting?
All right, I got an answer for you.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes.
Man,
You really answered a lot of questions with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
they do mention at least with the castle that it got attacked where it originally was, so they moved it into that painting. So I think maybe they
Like in a museum.
in
And
the
there's
museum.
somebody guarding it all the time.
Yeah, and I think my favorite character kind of has a lot to do with that particular base, and
Are you
it's the
talking about
uncle.
Uncle?
I love the uncle. I don't know how y'all felt about him, but again, just talking about twists and kind
He's
of the
kind
payoff.
of like the undercover badass.
Yeah, and just that moment of because the shapeshifter basically takes the form of Gabriel's wife to be invited to get inside, which is where the orichalcum is. Now I'm having trouble saying it. And reveals like, hey, I'm here. And you're thinking this is bad news because the only guy there is the uncle who mentions that like I can't leave, but he never mentions why until that moment, and it's because like he didn't leave because he was a recluse who was scared of the world. He was scared that he would destroy the world.
He like was the nuke or something like that in World War II
He-
or something
he
to that
men-
effect.
He mentions that the reason, if it wasn't for, he says something like
he killed
Egypt
everybody.
He said Egypt is the way it is because of me.
Yeah.
And
Like
there's
it's a
half,
desert because of me or something.
and there's half the stars in the universe because of me.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I don't want to brag.
I don't know what that means other
also,
than like,
I have a pterodactyl.
and also he's got a fun pterodactyl named Isaac. I love that little moment too where he's like, Isaac, you might want to get out of here.
I still don't understand, where did the pterodactyl come from?
I think he just needs a pet.
Pterodactyl backstory. Yeah. Usually you go to PetSmart and you get a hamster, not a pterodactyl.
But Abby, if you're a big pet person. You've got horses and cats and dogs galore. You're not telling me that if you lived in a magic world, you wouldn't have at least a few magical creatures running about for no reason.
I don't think I would go with the
definitely
pterodactyl.
I would get a niffler.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
for
think
sure.
you can say that on
The
here.
gold.
I
Yeah.
can't.
No, you're the
No,
big
we turned
boss.
the
She can say
business
whatever
off.
you
She
want.
can say it now.
Well, she's the big boss. She can say whatever she
Yeah.
wants.
I don't think pterodactyl would be pretty low on my list of things that I would get, I think. Like, I think a phoenix would be cool.
Oh, okay. I like a good phoenix.
But like a pterodactyl, that's probably like a problematic pet.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be hard to feed and clean up
But
after.
this one looked like a teacup pterodactyl though.
He was.
So-
He's
Those
very
designer breeds. Oh,
Not a teacup pterodactyl.
It has a lot of diseases, but it's just so adorable. But I love that place. I love the again, like having to share your worst memory to get into the awful evil wizard space, and kind of aesthetically, it's just like someone living in their mom's basement, like just very. Just kinda,
that one was. I wanted to talk about that dude wearing the kick-ass shirt, and he was like kind of a gross-looking dude with like really bad hair, kind of chubby, had all the magic gear in his basement.
Oh,
is that what you were talking about?
Well,
or
he's the
something
one.
different?
No, he was the guy guarding the magical creatures and the
Yeah.
time eating one. Yeah, I forgot about him.
I think that's actually a crossover. Do y'all remember the guy in Toy Story that buffs up Woody when he's stolen the collector?
See, I was actually thinking it was the house from Sky High where they keep all the special toys.
Could be either.
I think this character's actually in like 50 different movies, like Toy Story, Scouts of... Just the unkept man with long hair. Like, that's a very reoccurring character.
Well, Mark Millar's big on his crossovers, so there's no telling where that character might or
Can't
might
wait
not
for
be
the
from.
Toy Story Mark Millar.
Or he goes into Al's
crossover.
Toy Barn.
Yeah.
I think that's what that guy was called. And
Oh,
what his
yeah,
business
it was.
called.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's got like the Cheeto puffs, you know? he's
Cheeto hands. Yeah, it's just it's amazing scenery, and like this is supposed to be set, I believe, in Chicago is kind of the idea. At least like aesthetically, it's supposed to be Chicago, and then adding in the magical stuff. There's nothing even with the magical elements of this and the castles and the bases. They all fit within the real, quote unquote, real world that they're playing in. Nothing stands out of place. It's distinct, but nothing feels out of place in this setting.
What about, is it a hotel or an inn or
So
where
there-
it's like
yes.
over multiple time periods you can interact with all of these other
Oh,
wizards?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's basically seems to be the John Wick hotel where like
Oh yeah.
anyone, bickering or not can go to this place that exists at all points in time.
But you can
And
only
you can't-
interact with the people you showed up with.
Yeah, like you enter through a door, only the people that enter through that same door can talk to each other, because you can talk about the people around you. Like she mentions like, oh, like I think Higgins mentioned this earlier, the Madame Albany, they go to have like a peace summit essentially to try and reach a truce, and she says fuck you, but she mentions like, oh, there's my dad, this is probably the moment where he saw me and was like, you're not good enough to guard this book, kind of thing. And that's also how Cordelia, when she was a child, snuck off and went to see her grandparents and like the great uncle who originally had the book, and like just being a mischievous kid doing what she shouldn't be doing. And you find some interesting stuff about kind of the past as well. Essentially, the reason that World War II even happened in this version of history is because they were using the orichalcum to create blood sacrifices to summon some kind of demon. And the reason why the magicians were involved is because the war was being fought on multiple planes of existence. So just, I think that's kind of a fun thing to do to add to your version of this, real world mixed with the magical, and also kind of plays off that, those ideas you hear about, like how Hitler was obsessed with weird magic items and relics and artifacts and things.
He was an artist, so
He's a beautiful artist, beautiful man. Said no one ever. Is it time to bring the mustache back?
No, it's
Okay.
never time.
I just need to ask every now and again because one day it will be time.
I don't know. Like,
I think. I
Maybe.
mean, me personally, I think the mustache is already back.
I'm trying,
In
like,
some ways, yeah. I don't know if that mustache is back.
yeah,
The
that
curly one?
mustache won't come
No,
back.
Hitler's mustache.
Oh no, that's
Yeah,
not
mustaches
a good
in
mustache.
general, like, are back. Like,
Yeah.
we know that, but
I don't
that
think it was a good
mustache?
mustache to begin with.
I think that's
I
what
could
helps.
I could never
yeah.
grow that mustache. Mine doesn't grow in the middle.
I feel like he was kind of a trendsetter with that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, also, I've learned that if you're ever going to have like a magical book, put it on a PDF file. Don't have a hard copy. I feel like a lot of like fighting would be, minimized if we just had this as a PDF.
Oh.
Like,
An electronic copy.
an electronic copy. Exactly. Like, you have to have a passcode to enter it. Because you wouldn't have to have someone guard it. You just have to have a really good like coder to, code this
Oh,
program.
you mean the book they're after in the story?
Yes,
Oh,
that book.
okay.
Yes.
You know what? You're right.
Just think about it. We could
It was like, I'm so confused.
I was like, okay, that's controversial, I guess, but like, no, okay, yeah, I completely follow you now. Yeah, which
if we just had this on Kindle, like we would be.
we might not have this problem.
Exactly.
All right, you
What-
guys flesh that idea out. I'm gonna use the little podcasters room. I'll be right back.
my only other thing about this that it's kind of the one thing I didn't love. It's 6 issues. The story's, it's done. It continues with different things with these characters, but this arc is done. It wraps itself up very neatly and very quickly in the last issue. I don't love that, but I wanted to hear kind of your thoughts on it.
I feel like the daughter really just carried everyone in the final bit. Like the daughter was really, which I find it interesting. She's an escapist. I think that's because like, she's escaping all of her problems. That's what makes her. The ending though, I feel like it was a little predictable that, Gabriel's the bad guy. I don't think they really should have taken the daughter to the funeral because she was getting stink eyes the entire time. Like,
It's also crazy though that like the whole time Cordelia's like this, oh, I don't trust you, and then he ends up entrusting her just for her to get killed to bring back this little girl, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things that, because with this particular spell, it's kind of the only spell we see taken from the orichalcum. It's bringing people back from the dead. To do it, you have to sacrifice someone else. So Cordelia makes a deal with Gabriel where it's like, hey, let us kill you. We'll use that to bring your daughter back. And he just kind of goes along with it, which with the way he is, where he's gone insane and he's willing to kill his entire family and everybody else. It just seems like an odd heel turn to, like, after what you've done. I know you know your sister, you I guess kind of trust your sister, but also you're too far gone to really. She does it, but it's interesting that he really believes that she will follow through with it. I thought they were gonna do where she just doesn't do it. But yeah.
Another thing to me that's weird is he wants to bring his daughter back because he can't live without her, and neither can his wife. Well, they bring the daughter back, and he's dead, and she's trapped in a book.
Yeah.
Which is really weird that he agreed to that.
Well,
Because he was like, oh, my pain and suffering. Well, they just brought her back, and they're both gone, so...
I think my personal opinion on that is that he did all this bad stuff, and he knows that obviously even if his daughter does come back, he's not going to be trusted to stay with her or be a part of this magic order or anything like that. So he feels so bad that he got his daughter killed because of negligence, basically, that he thinks this is the best way to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, even though I might not be able to be with her.
What quality of
She
life
didn't-
does she have at this point?
Well, I mean, if your parents are murderers and like criminals, at least you're not dead and hang out with the family members that aren't murderers and criminals.
But there are also some of them, like she goes
Plus,
and lives
now
with the
she-
uncle.
Plus, now she has 2 gay dads, so
Oh, that's
right?
really cool.
Oh yeah, they do kind of just casually say like, the one brother's gay and has a boyfriend.
yeah.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, it
See?
was just a random line like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I'm texting my boyfriend. I have a
Yeah, see,
boyfriend."
I was
Moving
there.
on. It's like, okay,
I
sure.
read books.
Yeah.
I
like-
pay attention.
Yeah, and I think also They didn't mention that they were going to trap the wife in a book. That was kind of done after the fact, after they killed him.
Yeah,
so
what the heck?
I don't think that it just doesn't seem like him being in the state he was in, and also he was desperate because she brought everyone he just killed back to life. So he's kind of trying to figure out how to get out of the situation he's now in. I don't think he would go quietly, and that's my only complaint about this is it just kind of all wraps up neatly where everybody's back to life. That was good. Everyone who is evil is killed, and the good moment is that she gets kind of the love and respect and acknowledgement from her dad that she's always wanted, and she gets to become the new head of the Magic Order, which plays into what we saw her do in the big game.
Does Albany die?
Yeah, the dad slashes her.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
It just kind of, for it to be the last issue, and it all just is done, and then there's a happy ending. I'm not mad about it. It just seems like, oh, this is kind of, it's kind of the thing that he did with Big Game, where you killed a bunch of characters for like kind of the emotional moment and the impact and to raise the stakes, but now it doesn't mean anything because now they're all back and everything's fine again. That's the only thing about Mark Millar's writing I've never loved is he's quick to kill his darlings, but he's also quick to just reset the status quo.
Well, what's the big comic book rule? The only person that stays dead is Uncle Ben.
Yeah. It's like that list gets shorter and shorter.
Well, it was
like Uncle Ben, Jason Todd, and then there's one
Bruce,
more. But each of those,
Bucky
Barnes, yeah. But Bucky Barnes and Jason Todd have both come back. Uncle Ben is kind of at least the main Uncle Ben has never really come back.
Yeah,
but
I just read like a Reddit post. Apparently, there's like a Ben Parker that becomes Spider-Man in a really weird like Earth.
Yes, there is. Yeah, there's all sorts of weird Spider-Verses and Spider-Man and women's. Yeah, you're right. That is kind of the golden rule of comics. I think when you have comics like this though that aren't tied to a bigger kind of ongoing continuity like your Marvel and your DC, the fun of these comics is anything can happen. Like it's its own closed off world. You're doing things that aren't going to affect numbers and sales and whatever. So yeah,
there are 3 more volumes too. So like we could just be dead. We could just be dead wrong.
What are the predictions for volume 2, you think?
Magic.
I really don't know because
there's probably gonna be an order.
Oh, and they do magic.
Whoa.
Abby's getting it.
Spoiler alert, y'all.
I would like to go in on these other volumes. Like really, again, that being my complaint is just it wraps up a little neatly. I still think that this is a really well written comic, and it's a super fun world that he's set up with a lot of characters I really enjoy. Apparently the 4 main family members and their dynamics and their characterizations are based off of King Lear. I believe that even the names are basically pulled from that. Like it's
Reagan and Gabriel and all that jazz.
Yeah, I think Gabriel might be a different name, but the others are exactly as Reagan and Cordelia. So yeah, he's taken things like Harry Potter and The Sopranos and then the King Lear elements, and he's just made his own version of it. And I really like these characters. I don't know. It's not that they feel real, but the problems in the relationships and the strains of those relationships feel real and really, really fun to kind of read and see how it plays out.
Let's stop talking about it and be about it. What are you giving this?
What am I giving it?
Yeah.
I've already put some thought into this, so I'm gonna say, with all the good things I said and the one bad thing I said, I'm gonna pull 6 rabbits out of 7 hats.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a number.
It certainly is. There's 2 numbers in there if you think about it.
Maybe a decimal.
Maybe.
Probably.
I don't know. I don't know if that's allowed. Erin, Abby.
So like, do we have a scales on a scale of 1 to 10?
It's like whose line?
Yeah.
The numbers don't matter.
I said 6 rabbits out of 7 hats. Obviously, you know what that means and the minute detail that goes into it. So anything similar or different, just whatever comes to the heart. Higgins can give you another example first if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 90 years and 30 seconds.
Wow.
Because of the Horror Goblin.
Yeah.
Horror Bloblin.
The Horror
Goblin.
A 4.5.
Can you speak into the microphone when you say that?
4.5 out of 5 teacup pterodactyls.
Oh my God, they're adorable.
I'm going to go with like
I don't want to see half of a teacup pterodactyl though.
A 3.14 out of 4.
Which half?
3.4 out of 4.
3.14.
3.
Out of 4.
Oh, because you like pie.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But magical pie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Circle.
Like
a
every
circle.
bite's a different flavor.
Yes.
That's good. I like
It's
that.
being eaten by a teacup pterodactyl.
The snosberries taste like snosberries.
The strawberry tastes like blueberry. It's very
Yeah.
confusing. Well, good. I think we all enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think so.
Someone let the cat in. It sounds like
Let
Oh,
new cat in.
We
let the cat in.
We can let him in.
we can let him in.
He'll fuck with something, but that's part of the charm of this podcast,
He's
isn't it?
very upset you left him out there.
No other podcast has a new cat to fuck things up, and I appreciate that.
They only have old cats.
Exactly.
But we have new cat.
Come on, new cat.
Come here, you noisy thing.
The cat's wearing a bow tie. and
No,
that's perfect.
no. Readings for squares.
Oh my gosh, Abby. As someone who's never listened to this until now, that means it's time for a new segment.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
just waiting for my perfect moment to interrupt something.
Okay, good. Do you feel satisfied with that?
Yeah, it took a little bit because you guys kind of stopped talking, and I was like, I can't just do this in a break.
No. You'd ruin your perfect record.
This is a segment of the show where we talk about stuff that aren't books.
Where we sing a silly song with Larry.
Exactly.
You
Now,
sing some Veggie Tales.
Yeah. Hit us, Jared, with some Veggie Tales.
I lost some Veggie Tales.
But yeah, we talk about stuff that we've been watching or playing or listening to, or I don't know, anything that's not a book that you have taken into your body that you want to talk about.
Wow.
Does that happen often?
I take so
Does
many,
it have to be
so many
appropriate?
things.
Because I feel like this could go a lot of different ways. Things that you have taken in your body.
Yeah, you took some Chick-fil-A into your body
I
earlier.
did.
That's very appropriate, very family friendly.
It was.
Jesus would be proud.
It's God's blessed food.
Exactly. For about $15 a pop.
Snoop, we're going to start with you on this one.
I have nothing to contribute.
You haven't been watching or playing or anything?
I've just been reading this and editing our special episode with Jim
Oh,
Kruger.
okay. Yeah, he has been a busy boy. I can offer you
Give us one of your best things.
2 shows or an old game.
Give us your best show.
My best show?
Yeah.
All right. So I've been watching Dark Matter here
That's,
lately on Apple TV.
that's got a Jennifer Connelly in it,
It's
maybe.
got Jennifer Connelly and Joel Edgerton, which people forget about Joel Edgerton, but dude still got it.
He's crushing it quietly, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. I know this is no book, so I won't even talk about the book, but I did read the book that this show is based off of. It's also called Dark Matter, and it's written by Blake Crouch.
Okay.
So this dude is living his life, doing his thing. He's a big physics boy, but kind of like a lot of these stories, he decided that he wanted to stay with his family, and he stopped doing the big physics boy stuff and started becoming a teacher at a college. And he was making this box that might like turn you into a Schrodinger's cat, and then he just like cut it off. All of a sudden, he goes out, meets with his friend who's won this big prize for physics, and he gets mugged, stolen, thrown in a box, and shoved into another like multiverse, basically. Big multiverse, like
Almost as
past
bad as
couple of
being
years,
stuck in a book.
basically.
Hollywood's all about their multiverse. They're
Depends
like,
on the
what if
book.
a version of someone, but different than what you know?
But yeah, so he gets mugged, and this is a very light spoiler because it happens in the first episode. He gets mugged by himself, thrown in a box. The guy that like mugged him was a version of him in another world that felt bad or felt like he missed out on the life with Jennifer Connelly and their like kids and stuff like that. So he swaps places with them and like shoves the other guy out in a place where he thinks he's not going to be able to escape back to it.
It's like a grass is greener on the other dark
Grass is-
matter.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
As the saying goes.
So there's this fancy box, and they go to a bunch of different multiverses worlds, and like they take a drug, and it like separates your like brain chemistry, and you use that to go to different worlds, and it's pretty cool. Apple TV makes really good shows. You just have to go on there and actually click on them because that's the hardest part for me.
It's true. I feel that way with most streaming services because there's so many now.
Yeah,
Like, I kind of just jump from one to the other. Right now I'm on a Hulu kick, but Apple TV might need my attention.
that
'cause,
being said,
yeah.
I looked on there because the Dark Matter caught my eye because I had read the book and I really liked it, and I was
Jennifer
like, let's see
Connelly.
how they did it. Yeah, and Jennifer Connelly, God, she's better than ever.
Like
Sorry,
a fine
B.
wine, that woman.
Wow.
I know, right? That's what we said too. Saw him, we went, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Can't help it.
yeah, they got a lot of good shows on there.
Yeah.
I looked through their list and I'm like, I'm gonna have to watch like at least 4 to 5 of these bad boys.
God, he's never said that about any other streaming platform.
Yeah.
He's only said 2 to 3 max.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Mainly because they only have like 1 season apiece, so it's like very like I can really get that in my body.
Mm-hmm. Good.
I also play Earthbound on my new like emulator device, but we won't talk about that.
We maybe talk about Earthbound next month with a certain special guest who's also played Earthbound.
Oh yeah, he said he's gonna hop in and try to play it alongside me so that we can talk about it.
Oh, that means you can get into Earthbound together. You can both get Earthbound in.
We can Earthbound it.
Yeah.
That's NES for anybody that doesn't know from Super Smash Brothers.
But not the NES. That's a different thing.
No, the little guy with the baseball bat in Super Smash.
And that sideways hat he has.
Yeah.
He was doing it before it was cool. And he pulls off horizontal stripes somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not very flattering on most people, but he can do it. Abby, what have you been up to? That's not book related.
Related to this book or just in general?
No books on this segment. We will ask you to leave.
What are you watching?
Watching or playing or any music you've listened to?
I really only read. I don't watch stuff that often, but I did start watching the show Rob Lowe did with his son, Unstable. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Good
What's
acting.
that about?
It's about Rob Lowe is a brilliant scientist and his wife dies, and so he goes into like this major slump, so they bring in his son to get him out of the slump.
Rob Lowe's actual son, or
yes, Rob Lowe's
really?
actual son. Yes.
Oh wow.
And it was the inspiration for the show was actually Rob Lowe's son trolling him on Instagram. They saw how funny it was him trolling his dad, and they were like, this would be a really good TV show.
So kind of like
Just like you troll your dad every day.
kind of like Schitt's
Yes.
Creek, where like Dan and Eugene Levy like act together, but it's still a fiction show. This is Rob
Yes.
Lowe and baby Rob Lowe acting
Yes, and
together
his
in a
name's
fictional Johnny Lowe.
I almost said Johnny Rob Lowe.
I just hope that his middle name's on the
Johnny Lowe.
Johnny on the low.
So I've watched
That's good.
an episode of that. Been doing horse girl stuff, but other than that,
Oh yeah,
that's
how's your horse girl stuff? That's actually something I'd like to hear about. How's your horse weekend?
It was good. I went to a horse show. That went really
Dog's
well.
upset.
The dog's very upset. She gets triggered by horses.
Same.
It was really good. We did good at the show. I was happy. The horse did try to throw me off, and that did happen. But we almost ran over a child on a pony, and so I felt bad about that.
You almost ran over a child on a pony, or you almost
I was on a
ran
pony. I was on a pony, and I almost ran over a child
Okay, see,
that
this
was
is
also
important.
on a pony.
Oh, they were both on.
That was like
both.
a jousting situation.
Yeah.
Basically,
Oh.
my horse hadn't been to a show in a while, and so he was really feeling it. And decided to do his victory laps.
Okay.
Nice
But we won a few things.
ribbons.
Yes, ribbons.
The blue kind, or
there was
green?
multicolors, but there was blue, there was red.
Blue's the best one, right?
Yes.
And
yes,
red's the second one.
Yes.
Yellow's third.
Yes.
Nice primary colors.
Why do you Why do you know this much about horse stuff?
I
I
just know
think
that
that's just in
blue
general
rib-
colors.
Yeah, that's just
Oh.
like when you do ribbons. I think that's the color order.
Sounds like Snoop's never won an
I
award.
I
Is
feel
like
like
purple-
Higgins just like had a secret life I didn't know
purple
about.
sixth,
for a
purple
second.
sixth, green's fourth or fifth.
I think green's fourth. White is fourth.
green's
Fifth
fifth.
is green. Sixth
Is purple.
Purple.
I only know purple sixth because Bethany's niece just raced and got a purple ribbon for
I
getting
think
sixth
it's
place.
purple/pink. Like ours at that show were pink.
Okay.
Basically, you go and you pay a lot of money to show at the show, and you get 99-cent ribbons. It's totally worth it.
Seems like a good return on investment. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Good.
And where you put the ribbons, I don't know. Mine are in a Tupperware box. And
Put them
we
on the
add
horse.
it.
I literally wear them everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Every time I've gotten a ribbon.
Do you want to wear some of mine? I can bring some over, and you can,
I'm not wearing any ribbons, guys. So that's how you know how my life's been going till I turned through my first 30 years.
No,
Maybe
but-
I'll win one. Maybe I'll win one in
So
my next
say,
year.
You really have the bar is low, but plenty of room for improvement.
Yeah, literally my ceiling's so high.
I heard
Can't even
they
see
give
it.
out participation awards now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We could give him
we
one
don't even want
today.
to talk about that.
He participated.
I'm almost in the generation that thinks we shouldn't give out participation ribbons.
I'm in that generation. I'm younger than you. I've decided I'm in that phase of my life.
Like, why do we need a ribbon?
Well, good, Abby. I'm happy for you and your horse. So, would you like to give a shout out to the horse in case he or she listens to this episode?
Shout out to Ghostwalker.
It's a badass horse name.
And then I'm gonna need a picture of Ghostwalker.
I have a shirt that says Ghost Rider. You know, that's my shirt because he's Ghostwalker. His bar name is Ghost.
I'll put a picture of Ghostwalker up on the Instagram for anybody that wants to see it.
That's hot. That's hot stuff. If you can have him if you can have
With
a
the
picture of
ribbon,
him
can you
with
put
a
the
ribbon
on him?
And this
I will
horse
find one.
is special because it's been blessed.
Yeah,
was
it was
blessed
blessed before my lesson today.
by
the
a weird,
Lord?
no, by a weird medicine woman.
Oh.
Yes.
That's even better if you
Yeah.
think about it. Yeah.
This is the pony. He doesn't have a ribbon on. I'll have to find a picture of him with a ribbon. He did bite a
That's good.
child the other day, so he got in trouble for that.
I feel good about
I feel
that.
like I should have gotten another ribbon, but different opinions on children.
There he is with a ribbon.
There you go. That one works. We'll do that. If you're fine with that being on the internet on my Instagram profile.
Yes, I will find. Let me see if I have one like where it's a more impressive ribbon display.
She's
But
gonna be fine until it gets more likes, and she's gonna ask you to politely take it down.
While she's searching, Erin, what have you gotten in you this over the past few months?
Besides that Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, a lot of Chick-fil-A. I binge watched The Resident. Shout out Matt Zuckery. I love you.
Oh, you mean Andy?
Huh?
You mean Andy? Or is that the other one? What am I thinking
this
of?
is Logan
Oh.
from Gilmore Girls.
From Gilmore Girls.
Oh, I was thinking about that show where Andy plays a young doctor.
Oh, the Good Doctor?
Yeah.
No.
That just ended.
And then the other one I've been watching is The Righteous Gemstones on HBO.
Oh my God, I love the Righteous Gemstones.
I haven't watched that, but I've heard good things.
It's kind of like
church. There's a
making
church.
fun of mega churches
Yeah.
in a sense, like just
Danny McBride.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's like your
John Goodman, Danny McBride. Is it Goodman?
yeah,
John Goodman.
John the Great Man, yeah, John Goodman, and then his three. He's like a mega pastor.
Who plays Kelvin? He's that.
It's the guy from Workaholics, Adam Devine.
Adam
Yeah.
Devine, yeah.
No,
And
I think he's
then
actually divine.
I feel bad every time this comes up, but I do not know the daughter's name, and I wish I did because she's also just equally great in that show.
My friend Zoe got me on that one. So
Yeah.
if you're listening, Zoe, I love you. You're my best
she
friend.
better be
Oh,
listening.
shouts out to Zoe. Good recommendation, by
Should
the
we
way.
post a picture of her to the Instagram story also?
Yeah, we should.
Zoe? I'll
With
put it up there.
with her consent.
Yeah.
Does she also have a ribbon that she can have in that picture?
Oh, yeah.
If not, no worries. But
Probably
think
not.
okay. But that was not a definite not. Those are all good recommendations and things.
Yeah. So those are all really good things. Speaking of Andy from the Good Doctor, we're actually going to have him on our next episode.
Fuck
Yeah.
that guy.
Don't listen.
Jeez. He's not welcome. But we're gonna have him on anyway.
Yeah, we're going
that's
to have
right.
him on the episode anyways.
I didn't
'cause,
sponsor him.
Long time listener though. Long time listener. So like we have a fan. We're gonna have a fan in the building. Not that Erin
Not a fan of that guy.
The worst.
is a fan
Our
of our
episode
show.
is so much better than his.
That's true. His doesn't even exist yet, even a little bit. But we're gonna read "Sentient" by Jeff Lemire by him.
That's
with
right.
him by Jeff Lemire with Andy.
The good doctor.
The Good Doctor himself. Yeah,
Yeah, the Good Doctor.
he hates those jokes.
The good history teacher.
Yeah.
Maybe people will finally get down to the mystery
The
of what
nitty-gritty.
subject he teaches. So yes, we're gonna do that with Andy. You've heard his voice before if you listened to a previous episode. He talked about
Talks
Godzilla.
about Godzilla -1.
Yeah, said better things and more insightful things in a minute than I ever could in an hour. So looking forward to having him on. We're going to read Sentient by Jeff Lemire, as Higgins said. Looking forward to that. And anything else we get into. Thank you to anyone who has listened to this episode. We love that. We love Erin being here as well.
But not me, apparently.
I was going to
Oh
let Erin
wait,
say something.
we need Erin to say something so we can get down to business.
Say something cool.
Oh, that's right. We're back in business. Can you say the unsafe word?
I don't know how to say it anymore.
It's orichalcum.
I was about to say curriculum.
It could be that too. It's fine.
Or a calcum.
Excellent.
Or a calcum.
There you go. Oh wait, now
Excellent.
we're back in the fun zone.
Let's just roll with it. So yes, we're gonna do that. Erin, thank you for being on this episode and episodes before, and thank you for sponsoring this show. Just you. No one else.
It's
That's right.
just it's a lot on my shoulders.
Do you regret that yet?
Not yet.
Yeah,
There's still time.
there it is.
Great.
Next
cool.
episode, maybe.
After the Andy
Oh, yeah,
episode,
after
she's
Andy's
going to
episode.
regret it majorly.
Then we're on our own again. And thank you, Michael, to sponsoring this as well. We
And also
joke
thank
and we
you, Abby,
jest.
for coming on the show too.
Yes, thank you, Abby. This is
First time podcaster.
Thank you for inviting me after I asked you to invite me. It meant a lot.
I'm happy to do
I
that.
actually set that up.
It's true. I was going to bring that up that you didn't ask me, but you asked Erin to ask me.
That is true.
but
And I
we're-
didn't ask you. I told you.
And
I went straight to the boss. I know how to get things done.
and you got it done. We couldn't have done this without you, and we appreciate you letting us be your first podcast and also your
Thank
first
you.
comic that you read. You did a good job,
Yeah, it was difficult, but like I feel like we got through it,
Just
you
you
know.
first.
and you've grown as a person.
I really have, you know. Now I can say I've read a comic.
Mhm.
And next time I go to like Comic-Con or something, I'll feel experienced.
It's
Exactly.
like I actually did read one of these one time.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I'm such a pro. It's just like how, you know, I'm a gamer because I love to play Sims. So it's something
That's
similar to
fair.
that.
We're still in the episode and still thanking you, so I'm going to let you believe the thing that you just said. But no, thank you both for being here and joining this year the guests that we've had going on. Thank you to anyone who listens and continues to listen. We look forward to being back again with Andy and reading that book we mentioned. And I will say cheers, guys, because that's what I say. I'll remind Higgins.
Oh wait,
to get
we
that
haven't done
egging
we
you.
haven't done the most important part. We got to sweep it up. Tell them
That's what we're
what's
doing
what.
right now. I was going to toss it to you, Higgins. There's a rhythm
You
here.
can't say cheers, guys, until we're about to cheers, guys.
Well,
so
oh, okay, all right. Well, I'll take all
Uh,
that back and I'll toss it to you to sweep under that rug
I
and
just can't
tell people things.
I'm not ready to get my egg in me yet.
Okay,
Not until I sweep up the room a little bit.
all right. Just be ready. That egg's going to go in hard
I gotta
and not what you
talk
think.
about all the places that you guys can listen to us. It's all the podcasting apps. Stitcher doesn't exist anymore. Get it out of your system. But you can find us pretty much anywhere else. Every time I Google our name, it like shows up another podcasting app or platform that I didn't know existed,
Mhm.
and somebody's using it somewhere.
We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're maybe in a BuzzFeed article.
If you're listening to us now, you probably already found a spot, but
Probably.
tell your friend that they can listen to us wherever they want. And if you would like to leave us a review or a rating, you can do that on most things. Apple is the place where the reviews come in. So we would like if you did that there. We don't have any new ones. It's a little disappointing. I cried one tear the other day for every day for the past like month, really, that I haven't seen a new review. But I know you guys aren't gonna let me down.
I'm reviewing you right now. So.
All right, so we'll read it on Andy's episode then, because there's no way it's gonna come in before we finish this one up. You can find me and Snoop at a couple places. I'm on X or Twitter at Mike Higgins 93 and Instagram at JSterm93. You can find Snoop at Instagram on Snoop_Lynch, and you can email us at thecomixologyclub at 0-8studios.com.
Wow, you got it in one go. He's never
I-
done that before.
Couldn't remember if I said the dash already, and well, that's why I paused.
You got it. Well done.
But I don't know if we've got any emails because I don't have access to the email anymore.
No, we're good right now.
Okay, we're good. No more new emails.
No, you can cry about that too.
I'm right now. They're flooding. They're flooding.
Voice is
But
choking
yeah,
up.
send us an email. Tell us what you want us to read. Look forward to our episode with Jim Kruger. It might be out before now. It might not. If you listen to this one before that one, then listen to that one because it's one of our best. And there's gonna be videos on YouTubes and stuff like that. You'll see our faces, our bright shining faces. Even mine this time. And it's gonna be moving. Check out our other special episode with Andy Ewington. We did one about his book, Ian Livingstone's Freeway Fighter.
It's true.
That was really good too. My face wasn't moving in that one, but it's okay. I got a little stage shock more than anything. I think that's all of the things. Erin or Abby, would you want any of these people to find you anywhere? And if not, that's okay.
You can find me on my business website, 0-0-8. studios.com.
Yeah, and buy some stuff.
Like that you looked at me for help. But yes, that is where it's at, yeah. So yeah, you could find her there. You could find Abby at a horse show doing horse girl stuff.
Yeah, usually, like, if you want to find me, go to the nearest horse, and I'll be somewhere within the vicinity of that.
Or cat.
Or a cat, yeah.
She's behind one of those. If you look, you'll just see she's
or
right
a
there.
horse-sized cat or a cat-sized horse.
Usually, if you tell the cat to find me, it will come find me.
Okay.
So usually
There
I
you go.
communicate best through cats.
Excellent.
All right, I think that's it. And now you can do that thing that you do, Snoop.
Excellent. Well, I'd love to say cheers, guys, one more time. That's what I say. And now I'll remind Higgins to get that egg right up in him. And now he could say his thing.
Do you guys want to sign off, say goodbye to the peoples?
Oh, you could do that too. Yeah. You just say bye.
You don't have to do anything cool if you don't want to.
They're looking at each other. They want to say something in unison.
I don't know what Erin's going to say. Like, she's going to say that word,
Why
but
don't
I
you-
can't say the word.
All right, on the count of 3, you both say what you think the other person is going to say. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Horse.
Wow. That worked
That's
way
really
better
good.
than I thought it was going to. Excellent. All right, now Higgins, you could say one last thing.
All right. Now everybody is done listening to our business section. I just want you to all go into the world with a little bit of fun and say Ori curriculum.
It's way harder than it should be.